Welcome back. We have more gasoline updates, an obit tied to Von Braun's rocket team, and Delta's ready when you are. My name's Ike Morgan, and we're down in Alabama. You've probably heard that the Colonial Pipeline is up and running gasoline after 5 days of shutdown after a ransomware attack. AL.com's William Thornton reports that it's still likely going to take a couple weeks to iron out the supply kinks and make sure all gas station tanks are back to normal. Now, even though there's plenty of gas available and federal government has bypassed some regulation to keep trucks delivering fuel, distribution interruptions are causing those kinks on the supply side. Meantime, short-term demand has risen steeply as people have panicked a little bit in their buying. The New York Times has reported that stations in southern states yesterday were selling 2 and 3 times the amount of gas they usually do. And in Alabama, more and more gas stations have temporarily run dry. Now, we're not going to go all Alabama macroeconomic theory on you, but when supply goes down, price goes up. And when demand goes up, price goes up. And we've seen that happen in Alabama already, with varying increases throughout the state. Nationally, gasoline is back over $3 a gallon for the first time since 2014. Here's your bright side. With higher prices comes a lower incentive to hoard. A rational consumer shouldn't pay jacked up prices for gas he or she won't even use until the prices have hopefully stabilized. And that's your Alabama macro theory class of the day. By the way, Bill and others are all over this story, and I suspect we'll see a whole lot more over at al.com/business. The last living member of Wernher von Braun's German rocket team passed away Monday, reports AL.com's Lee Roop. Dorothea Schlitt was von Braun's secretary when the German team designed the first V-2 rockets that the bad guys would fire at Antwerp in England. Of course, later on, von Braun joined the good guys and moved to Huntsville, Alabama. Schlitt's husband was a member of Paperclip, the code name for the von Braun team, and they moved here as well, joining up with Americans to work on the Saturn V rocket that would put Americans on the moon. The Schlitt couple moved back to Germany in 1960, but they liked it here and finally settled in a Montesano neighborhood in 1980. Schlitt's husband Rudolph died in 2012. Dorothea Schlitt was 100 years old. Now listen up, because we have great news for our listeners in New York City. Delta is resuming its nonstop flights between LaGuardia Airport and Birmingham, Alabama's Birmingham Shuttlesworth Airport, reports AL.com's William Thornton. The 76-seat CRJ 900 will run daily service beginning June 7th, and they'll even take you back up there if you're sure you don't want to stay. The resumption is happening as New York lifts many of its capacity restrictions tied to the COVID-19 pandemic. Delta will also be running nonstop service between Birmingham and Atlanta and Detroit. Y'all make sure to come by and say hey while you're in town. And we sure appreciate everybody for listening. We will be back here again tomorrow. Until then, stop by and catch us anytime you can on the World Wide Web at al.com.